Hi, Jasmine. I'm here with Jasmine Betts, who's one of our fabulous female young entrepreneurs. And Jas and I are going to talk about actually her businesses, and we're going to talk about how she started her businesses. And she actually started a business at, was it 13, your first one?
No, 2017, so I think, yes, 13.
Yeah, great. So yeah, your jewelry brand. So Jasmine's got two brands, but Jas, let's maybe just tell me about your two brands, or let's go backwards. So tell me about the brand you've got now that's incredibly successful, and tell me about the brand that you started when you were 13.
Yeah, so in 2020, I started my brand Amore and Baci, which means love and kisses in Italian. Mum helps me come up with the name. And it basically started because I came up to mum one day with I have no sewing skills, and I was like, oh, I really want to start learning how to sew and like sewing these terry toweling shorts, because at the time I was desperate for a pair. There was a brand, I think it's called just Terry or something, but they would sell terry toweling shorts for like something ridiculous like $200, which I was never going to be able to afford at 16 years old. So I came to mum and I was like, oh, I'd really like to learn how to sew these shorts, and then I'd sell them as well to make a bit of money during COVID. Like, because in COVID, everyone was picking up random hobbies like sewing and stuff. So I thought, oh, what a perfect time to pick up sewing. But mum was like, oh, you don't, Jas, you have no idea how to sew. Like, why don't we just get it made overseas? So we looked into overseas manufacturers. We ordered a few shorts and we designed them. We did a few samples, and then they ended up doing really well, especially in 2021. And from there, we've just like kept on doing it. So yeah, it was just kind of like a side
Amazing.
hustle during COVID for a bit of money, but then ended up
Yeah.
actually going somewhere.
So amazing.
Yeah.
And so the pain point, because we always like to talk about what problem are you solving. So the
Mhm.
problem that you were solving was you liked the style of the shorts, but for your age group, it just was
Yeah.
not too
Yeah.
too
No,
much money.
it was way too much money. Like,
Yeah.
I was desperate for a pair, but I could not afford it, especially like being 16 in COVID without a job. Mom and dad weren't going to buy it for me.
No. Before that, you started a business at 13, which was a jewelry business. Tell me about
Yeah,
that as well.
so I think in year 7 or maybe earlier, I was really I've always been a very creative person, and I was very into jewelry at this time. I have a massive, like, love for fashion, but it first started off with I loved jewelry first, then I loved bathers, then I loved clothes, then I loved shoes, and then I loved bags, and now I love it all. But at the time of 2017, I was obsessed with jewelry, and I, really wanted to start making my own bracelets. So there was this bead store that I would always go into, and dad gave me a little bit of money to buy some beads. And then I bought some beads and made some bracelets, and then I started selling them to my friends. And then I started up an Instagram account, and then I like went into earrings and necklaces and
It's
stuff.
amazing.
Yeah, all handmade. And then like my friends at school would buy it, so I'd bring it in my backpack to school, tell them to bring their $20, and then yeah,
I love that.
I I don't do it anymore. It was only I think my account only ever had like 500 followers, but I really enjoyed it at the time.
I think I've only got 500 followers, so that's amazing. So when you went through that, you obviously needed to think about, because when we do the toolkit for the tween girl, one of the chapters
Mhm.
is all around making money, right? So
Yeah.
we talk about the money you need to start. And then we
Mhm.
talk about the money that each earring, for example, in your case, is going to cost you, and then how much you're going to spend, how much you're going to charge. And the difference is obviously your profit. So, how much did your dad give you to start?
I think he gave me either $50 or $100 or something like that.
That's good. And
Yeah.
then how much did each, can you remember the first product and how much each earring might have cost to make?
I can't remember the earrings, but I think originally I sold my bracelets for $8 each. I don't think I was
Yeah.
really making much of a profit, but I was just happy doing it at the time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Didn't have much finances, behind it at all.
No, no, but you were doing something you loved and you were charging for it. Like
Yeah.
I've interviewed some of the girls, and there one girl is also making earrings. She might want to reach out to you after this actually.
Yeah.
She's making earrings for her friends and giving them away. And kept saying to her, no, we're going to charge for those. We're going to charge $5 each. She's, 11. It's
Yeah.
amazing,
No,
like,
at the time, that was also my go-to gift for people. Mother's Day would
yeah.
come around, I gave mum a pair of earrings.
Beautiful. I bet that those earrings might go into the archives of the gallery of
Yeah,
fashion one day, Jas.
maybe.
Whoever whoever's got the original brand.
Mm.
So the business now, it's making money, you've still got it going. How do you manage that? Because you're at uni.
Well, mum's actually in charge of the finances, but I'm completely in charge of like the creative side, the designing side, all that, running the socials and designing the products, all that stuff.
And what do you love? So let's start with actually go back to the beginning. So where did the interest come? Like you talked about being a creative person already, but you know that the stats exist that women particularly start businesses unless they've got exposure
Yeah.
to an entrepreneurial environment. So
Mhm.
how did that happen for you? Where was your entrepreneurial advisor?
I think well, my mum's always been very much pushed me to like do things and like be creative, and my grandma, I'd say, is very much who shaped me into being a creative person. But I think what probably pushed me to be entrepreneurial is my older half sister. Like she's had various different brands over the years. Currently, she has a pajama brand called Kasha, and she's like the most motivated boss woman I know. Like her office in Port Melbourne, she has a full like dream board of like current like things she wants to achieve and then futuristic like dreams and stuff. And yeah, she's definitely inspired me. Sometimes I
Yeah.
even have meetings with her about like where I'm stuck. I feel like I'm stuck. My business
Mm.
is stuck in a position. And she's like, right, you gotta do this, this, and this. And every single time I speak with her, I always feel like very motivated.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so good. And how fortunate are you that you've got such incredible female,
Yeah.
I don't know, icons in your, sort of that enclosed environment, your family, because
Mm.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and even mom now with her business, like she works so hard and she definitely pushes me to like want to achieve in my business.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's so good. So what do you love about it? What do you love about running your own business and being an entrepreneur?
One thing that I loved at the beginning was like now is being able to like dream up and think about like a clothing piece or something I want to wear and being able to create it myself.
Mm.
And I love the creative side. Like I love designing, I love doing like the posts, I love social media, I love crafting up like a Instagram post or a TikTok, like brainstorming ideas. Yeah, I'm very passionate about all that.
Yeah. And I mean, you could do that for someone else, right? So what's the
Yeah.
difference between doing that for yourself as an entrepreneur and what do you love about that part of it and doing it for yourself?
I think because I do it for myself, it's stuff I care about, which drives me to do it. And it's also
Mm.
things I like. Like I'm designing things I like. Like I'm studying commerce and design at uni. So if I do decide to go down a path that's not purely just my brand, like work for a design firm or something, I will be working on things that like you have to take on other people's ideas and stuff, which is not necessarily things you're passionate about or like you even like. But the thing
Yeah.
about like designing for myself is everything I'm doing is like it's to my like preferences and like what I like, which is what I love
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's interesting as well is the data also says that when girls of a young age, so that 11-year-old age that I'm looking at with this
Mm.
playbook, when they are exposed to entrepreneurial environments at that young age, not only do they are more likely to start businesses, but they're more likely to be great leaders. They're more
Yeah.
likely to be financially secure. They're more likely to go and work for someone else in a high paid job, for example. So it's interesting, you've started those both businesses. You're studying as well at university. You therefore have all these incredible choices at the end of that
Yeah.
experience, don't you?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's really all part of, having the gumption to start a business so young or having just the interest to do that.
Yeah. No, it definitely gives me a lot of options at the end of my degree and like it's like a security, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can understand that. Do you feel like you could have built this without the support system that you had?
No, definitely not. My mum knows a lot more about things that I would never know.
Mm,
Like all the finance stuff. Even there's been like at the start when we did some massive orders, we'd have to we didn't necessarily have the money at the start and mum was very good at being able to source that and all things that I could wouldn't even like know where to start doing or be even like imagine knowing how to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And you think about all those other creative girls who have got, like you, fabulous ideas, but just don't
Yeah,
have something available to them to kind of
yeah,
get them through. Because the school system does good school programs, but that's it. There's nothing
yeah.
else.
No, school's like it's very good about like teaching you English and maths, but it doesn't necessarily teach you life skills or things that are necessarily relevant to um the world outside school.
Even in school, then, I don't know if you had it when you were at school. I certainly didn't, or Susie and I didn't. They teach you, there are it's like an entrepreneurial program in grade 5, year 9, I think, and then sometimes later in later years
Yeah.
they have almost like a Shark Tank. So some of the girls I spoke to had created ideas, built an idea, and got it like live after the sort of 5 or 6 weeks of the school program, but then didn't have the structure that say you had to then
Yeah.
continue that.
No, we never had anything like that at school, but I would
Mm,
have loved that if that was available to me. That sounds really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, me too. I would have loved that as well. So we've talked a little bit about the startup playbook.
Mhm.
What do you think about it? What do you think is so good about offering a startup toolkit or a platform to a tween girl?
Oh, I think like it's amazing and such a good idea because like you said before, a lot of girls don't know where to start. And like for me as well, I've always I think that before I started my clothing brand, I really wanted to make bathers, but I never knew how to start.
Mm,
Luckily I had my mum who actually told me what to do. Like even with designing things, I was like, I have all these ideas, but I don't know how to go about doing that. And like even if you do a Google search, Google's not going to tell you the answer for
mm,
something like that. Like you need like figures, like people in your life to guide you. So I think having the playbook, like it would just make it so much easier for girls to actually begin projects and like businesses like this. So I think yeah, it's a great idea.
mm. Oh, good. Thanks, Jazz. Two things that is driven the idea is one, that when you're surrounded by entrepreneurs, you're more likely to start the business, as we've talked about. But the other one that is a bit sad is that the girls' confidence to start a business declines quite quickly from tween to teenage.
Why do I
So
think that is?
really, because teenage girls seem to be affected by the teenage nonsense
Mm,
more. It affects their confidence more. So needing to fit in, needing to look a certain way, needing
yeah,
to make sure that, they gel with their peers. Being creative, I mean, like, I don't know if you had any experiences with this,
yeah.
but being creative and standing out as different isn't always seen as a good thing in your
No.
teenage years.
I remember, like, being on the tram in, like, year 11 or year 10 and, like, boys, like, giving me shit for, like, having my brand and, like, kinda, like, trying to take the piss out of it. But, like, meanwhile, I was just thinking in the back of my head, like, I'm making so much more money than you are.
Of course you are. I know that's amazing. So the boys were giving you a hard time. What about any of your peers, or how were they thinking about it?
None of my friends were always really supportive and, like, still to this day, like, I'll always, like, text my group chat being like, "Oh, does someone wanna, like, come with me to take photos today of this? I've got a TikTok idea." I'd say all my friends were very supportive of it and, were, like, excited for me and fully got behind me. But you'd have people who'd, like, question you and, like,
Mm,
try to, like, not talk down to you, but, like, kind of just assume that it was just, like, I don't know, explain it, like, wasn't serious, if that made
mm.
sense, like, just like a little
Yeah,
phase. Yeah, people,
yeah,
like,
right.
wouldn't always take it seriously.
So if you weren't strong, or if you didn't have the support system you had, and the boys were giving you a hard
Mhm.
time on the tram, and you know, can you see how that
Yeah,
may have affected your
100%.
confidence?
It's just all about not caring, like, you just
Mm,
gotta not care, and, like, you gotta think to yourself when you're like doing something and you're a bit worried about what people think. Like, yeah, there's a few people here and there who have something to say about it, but like you got to remember at the end of the day, no one cares about you as much as you care about yourself.
yeah,
Like,
that's
you can
right.
take that how you want, but like if you're thinking, oh, everyone's going to be thinking this, no one's like people are
No.
worrying about themselves. They don't really care what you're doing.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
obviously there are people who have an opinion, but you just have to not care.
It's hard for that's the study says that, you know, that girls lose the confidence because they lose confidence to see their idea through, have the support for their idea, stand up for themselves, I suppose, when they're being challenged. Again, you know, having a system in place where, you know, they might have a community in the platform, they might have some mentors in the platform, they might, you know, might get you to do a masterclass on, you know, how to build how to understand. I mean, how to deal with manufacturing in another country, for example, like really granular stuff is what we're looking at doing.
Yeah.
I suppose, why do you think it is important for young women to start businesses?
I think it's important because women have a very different way of thinking about things like than men do. And I think girls would consider things and like this would go into like products and services and stuff that boys wouldn't consider and they'd think about things that boys wouldn't think about. So that's why I think it's very important that girls have the confidence to start up these businesses.
Have you got an example? Like, can you think about how girls would think about things differently? Is it the depth or is it the different? Like, what is it about the way women think?
I think women are a lot more emotionally intelligent and yeah, sometimes I think boys just like they do without thinking and when girls before they choose to do something, they consider the pros and cons.
I always talk about how I want the girls I'm mentoring to be proud of starting their female founded businesses and be proud of the fact that women run businesses differently.
Yeah,
And that's a good thing
I
because,
agree.
yeah. How do you think you run your business differently than, say, a guy who's starting a windsheeter business?
How do I run it differently? I think I think about how girls would feel in the clothes and how the clothes would make the girls feel,
Mm,
not just like mentally but physically. Like for example, my dresses, they're designed to be like loose fitting, but they also like have ties to make it like tight around the waist or loose or and like that's all designed with comfortability in mind for like the wearer. Like like if girls want to wear and there's also two different sizes. Like there's the extra small, small and the medium large. And those different like if you're in between sizes, like we make those two sizes available. It's like if you want a more tight fitting dress, you'd size down or if you want a more loose fitting dress, you'd size up. So I think, yeah, I definitely think about how the wearer feels when they wear the clothes.
yeah, that's so interesting. So
Yeah.
interesting. All right, thanks, Jo. We got one last question.
Mhm.
Well, just actually, before I ask you that question, I want to talk about the financial literacy side because I think that's a big part of the program and the platform as well, is for the creative girls to learn about making money through their creative pursuits. So you told us you got a story about how, I mean, well, I'll ask you the question. So you've made a considerable amount of money now out of
Yeah.
your clothing brand. What are you doing with all the money and where is it sitting and how are you know, what's your plan for that money?
So I used to be a bit naughty a few years ago and I just spend, 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 spend. I had a full shopping addiction, caused many a fights with me and mum. But now the bank account is all the money's in a bank account that I do not touch. I like at the time when I used to spend this money, I didn't have a job, but currently I work in hospitality. But yeah, this all this money stays in this account and money that is required to pay like Shopify bills, pay for product, pay for like other things. It was all like comes from this one account. Mum runs it because she doesn't trust me.
So she shouldn't.
Yes.
Have you thought about investing that money into, like, I don't know whether it's stocks and shares or other businesses, or have you thought about investments?
We reached a point in the business where we actually like we have reached capacity on our knowledge, I'd say, and we were stuck and we don't know. We want to grow the business and we want to be smarter, but we don't know what to do or where to start. So we recently met with these business advisors and we've only had one meeting with them, but we've discussed like what they're gonna help us with. They're basically gonna help us with everything because me and mum don't come from a financial background.
Yeah.
So these people, they're going to show us how we should be using our money better.
Yeah,
And
great.
also they said they'd well, currently when we decide how much to price things, it's very much just like, I think this is a good price. We're
Yeah.
making enough profit off this. I think this is good. But they're gonna show us like how to take into consideration all the other costs, and from there also take that into consideration when pricing products.
Mm. Yeah,
So
that's really good. So like acquisition costs, promotion
yeah,
costs,
yeah,
yeah, audio time. Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, it's great. I mean, how good is it to have that support too, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
Last question. It's time for you to go out and party with the other young people. Can I just say that you're at uni, you're also working in hospitality and running a business. I mean, that is
Busy girl.
extraordinary. That is extraordinary. Tell me, what would you tell your 11-year-old self about running a business, making money, thinking about starting a business? What would you have said to yourself?
To my 11-year-old self, I would definitely tell myself to save. Don't just like blow your paycheck the second you get it on stupid stuff. There's so many things over the years that I bought and I was like, why have I bought that? Haven't even worn it, haven't even used it, didn't even like eating it. Whatever I spent the money on, like there's been a bit of wastage. What my older sister does actually, she always asks herself, do I need it? And she emails whatever it is she's thinking about buying to herself and then looks at it the next day. So I
Yeah,
think,
that's such a good idea.
yes, being smart about like sleeping on things, that's a
Mm,
massive thing I tell my 11-year-old self. And another thing I tell my 11-year-old self is be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, there's so many things you don't want to do, but you just have to do them, and that's part of life.
I love that. It's okay. It get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think people are reticent to put themselves. Not all people, obviously. I think that's what I love about the creative girl who we're targeting with this playbook, because I think she's always living with being a little bit uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's the idea. She's got so many ideas. So
Mm.
it's about channeling that into a system and a process and a community where she can feel support.
Yeah. And, like, you'll go through waves where you're really, like, motivated to do things, and then you'll have, like, troughs where that's the last thing you can be bothered doing, but
Mm,
to be successful, you actually just gotta, you just gotta do it. Even if you don't want to, you just gotta do it.
you just got to, it's like you've got to fall out of bed and just put one leg out and you're out and then you're
Mhm.
in. It's like going to training or any of those things that
Yeah.
aren't intuitively comfortable for you. You know, you've got to just, like I do a 6 o'clock training class on a Monday morning. I love the women I go. I
Yeah.
love the strength. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I do spend 4:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. awake going, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Yeah. You just gotta think, like, at the end, you're always gonna feel good. Once you like, when you do it, you're always gonna feel good, and you're gonna feel bad
Yeah.
about yourself if you don't.
Exactly. That's exactly what goes through my head. And I love it when I'm there, and I love the women, and I love the fact that I'm
Mhm.
getting stronger. Thank you, Jasmine. That was
Thank you.
fantastic. You're so great. I mean, I'm meeting all these amazing young CEOs and female founders, and you're all giving me such inspiration. So thanks for spending time with me on this.
Yeah, I loved those questions. They made me really think, which was good. Yeah, I'm excited.
Well,
Yeah, it was
thanks,
so nice
darling.
chatting to you.
I know. It's so good to talk to you too.